Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Urza's Lunch Break. Don't start shaking your head already.
I'm already disappointed.
Welcome back to Urza's Lunch Break, your weekly smorgasbord of magical delights. My name is Ned Burns, and I'm joined, as always, by expert magic commentator and death-defying acrobat, Mitch Foley. It's the moment we've all been waiting for. It's the finals of the Urza's Lunch Break Spring Invitational No Mercy Death Dome!
Jesus. All right.
Previously on the break, Terry the Taxman stomped on some snakes, and I can't hold together either. Sorry, Terry the Taxman stomped on some snakes and drove back the Eldritch Hordes with his mono-white Taxes deck. Meanwhile, Greg got vengeance of his own and blew away Urzatron with his Ponza land destruction deck. Today on the break, Greg's looking to top off his tournament performance with a light sprinkling of Parmesan victory, and Terry is going to make him fill out a Schedule A in ass-kicking. Hold on to your butts. This is the one we've all been waiting for. Let's head down to the match. There's the appropriate trophy. You doing okay?
A Schedule A?
Yeah. Listen, Terry does it by the book.
Was there a lightning bolt sound? I didn't hear a lightning bolt sound.
Yeah, we don't get to hear the sounds.
We don't get to hear the sounds.
I'm pretty sure there was.
This is sad for us. How did this happen? I don't know how any of this happens. Good question in the chat.
It looks like I wasn't even paying attention. I don't know who won the roll. I hope our director can remind us.
Oh, my goodness.
For anyone who is joining us for the first time, if you'd like to see the deck list of either of these decks, you can type bang deck list in the Twitch chat, or if you're watching on YouTube, there will be a link to the deck lists in the description or the doobly-doo, whatever you prefer, down below. Greg is on the play and is going to 6.
No one's even explained what Ponza is. It's like a local delicacy, and I don't even know what it's local to.
Ponza is, I think, the full name of it. And I don't know, it's some Italian thing. It probably involves cheese.
Italy's a big place. Is it like an actual Italian thing, or is it an Italian-American thing?
These are questions that need to be asked. Maybe the Twitch chat knows.
Twitch chat doesn't know.
Twitch chat doesn't know anything.
Twitch chat doesn't know.
Our director, who knows everything, is telling us that it's a Midwestern Italian-American thing.
That really narrows it down.
All right, well, we're looking at Terry's hand here. What do you think of this? 7.
This is awful.
Yeah, so he doesn't have a lot going on.
He's keeping it.
He's keeping it. Looks like Gray's going to keep on 6 and start off with a Utopia Sprawl, naming red. His hand also pretty weak. 3 lands and an Inferno Titan. Another land the draw for Terry.
Yeah, this is definitely going to favor Terry as far as... Like, Terry, knowing he doesn't have a lot going on right now, a Ghost Quarter is not a bad opening move just to use it.
And blow away Greg's
Utopia Sprawl.
So let's look at...
Instead, starting out with Eldrazi Temple and just passing the turn.
So with Ghost Quarter, he could play it, sack it, blow up Greg's land. Greg would still get to replace it with the basic, but it wouldn't have a Utopia Sprawl on it.
Right. You would essentially be getting one of his cards out of the way.
Greg's going to play his Misty and fetch into a basic forest.
And neither of these players really keep in good opening hands, so we should see a long, drawn-out match in which top decks decide the fate of the game. A second Utopia Sprawl for Greg is going to put him, I think, much more favored. He's going to be able to get a Inferno Titan out on turn 4 as a result.
Terry would have loved to have seen that second Utopia Sprawl go down on the same land, which Greg has a habit of doing if he has an Arbor Elf around that can untap that one land. Looks like Wall of Omen's the draw for Terry.
Wall of Omen's pretty decent draw. Thalia's not going to do a terribly large amount here on this board, but Wall of Omens can at least draw you into something else. It's not going to be doing very much blocking, but I like cycling here.
Well, it looks like Terry's going to go with the Thalia. Yeah, it's true. So most of the things that Terry would be scared about, like a Stone Rain or a Monvuli Acid Moss, Greg can already play regardless of Thalia on the table.
Right. I mean, he's cutting off maybe a Primal Command here, but that's just not quite enough.
And here's a card that Terry does not like to see, Blood Moon. off
Greg,
the top from Greg.
Yeah, so Greg just letting his fetch become a mountain here. Give him that extra red source. Lots of red source is not a terrible thing for Inferno Titan.
Blaze Splicer the draw for Terry. Now Terry does have that path to exile, and he has some white sources, and currently Greg only has an Inferno Titan.
Right, but Inferno Titan is not an only Inferno Titan. Inferno Titan's a pretty good card. Especially against, Terry's army of X1s.
Speaking of X1s, Terry is going to run with that Blade Splicer, which is going to create a 3/3 golem.
So
but
Greg's
is itself only a 1/1.
Certainly going to get the Inferno Titan down here and be able to take out both the Thalia and the Splicer, leaving Terry with just a 3/3.
Force the draw for Greg.
But it will get pathed, and Greg will have nothing, and Terry will still have something. So that path to exile is going to do work, despite getting essentially a 1.5 for 1.
Inferno Titan hitting the table here, and going to do 1/1 and 1 to Terry's face. Terry going to scoop up 2 of his creatures, but he still has that 3/3. Another Wall of Omens the draw for Terry. Yeah, Terry's deck can frequently run into an issue where he just doesn't draw enough planes to have access to white mana in the face of Blood Moon. But in this case, it looks like he's doing okay. Here's a Wall of Omens to start it out. I imagine he paths here.
There's nothing else you're really doing, so I'd wait till upkeep.
Well, he could swing in for 3 if he paths here.
That's true. Yeah, I like swinging in for 3 a little better. You're right.
All right, well, Terry is going to do that. The Golem gets into the red zone, going to drop Greg to 14. Caves the Coilless the draw for Terry. You can see that's the kind of white source that would just not actually give him white in the face of a Blood Moon. He also has things like the Hideaway Land. I should remember the name of that card.
I don't know how to pronounce this person's name in chat. I would like to respond to them, but their name is incomprehensible.
What does it say? We're going to see.
I don't know. I'm going to call him Steve.
All
Steve, you're absolutely right. I do not think Terry had the Blade Splicer at the time in his hand when Greg already he didn't have it in his opener.
What did Steve say?
Steve said that Inferno Titan just runs into a path, and I think that's true, but I think getting the 2-for-1 early against somebody with an already weak hand is strong. Ooh, Greg with a bonfire off the top.
Yeah,
to clear
Miracle
away the board.
Bonfire.
Unfortunately, it's still not going to be enough with the resto sitting in Terry's hand waiting.
It's true. He's going to drop Terry to 13, and he has a lot of live draws here.
Oh, there is like a Venom in there. I see it. Oh, yeah. I'd call you Venom. Maybe your name is Steve, though, and I just freaked you out.
That's the story we're going to go with here.
So, yeah, Greg definitely
Windburst
having
Kites.
less gas. At least Terry is able to have more cards in hand and kind of keep gumming with res, although he's running out right now with 3 lands in hand and just that resto.
Yeah, the Windburst Kite's going to be the draw here. It's going to take him a long time to get that online.
No trigger from the Windburst Kites either.
Sadly not, because it is a triggered ability. It's not an enters ability. Acid Moss the draw from Greg.
Going to at least start to try to work on those planes.
Terry going to respond with a resto. And there goes one of Terry's 2 planes. Greg doesn't know that he has a third in hand.
Greg's out of cards?
Looks like it.
Yeah, he should have gone to 5.
Second Resto Angel to draw, along with the Wall of Omens, still in hand.
Yeah, Terry's very, very far ahead at this point.
Terry hiding the fact that he has that second planes. Gonna swing in with the Resto Angel, drop Greg to 11. Let's see what Greg can draw to get back into this.
Terry doesn't really have any double white spells, so there's no reason for him to expose his second planes to multiple consecutively drawn land destruction spells.
End of turn, Terry's going to flash in that second Restoration Angel. I'm going to be threatening lethal rather quickly here. Swinging in for 6.
Unfortunately, the Displacer is not going to be able to get activated here. Playing that second planes is not...
Yeah, the problem with Displacer is that it requires a colorless to activate the ability, and once a Blood Moon is on the table, Terry actually has 0 ways of generating colorless mana.
Greg is running multiple bonfires. I don't know about...
And it's a hard cast Platinum Emporium.
Are you... Listen, I said that once.
Now, this is very interesting. Greg's life total cannot change now. And Terry does not have any removal for the Platinum Empyrean at the moment.
He's got a lot of blockers.
He's got a lot of blockers. He's got a Mountain and a Leonin Arbiter in his hand.
He should keep that Arbiter in his hand, just in case he needs to chump in a couple of turns here.
Yeah, so is there any, like, Greg can basically pay for any search effect at this point, so the Arbiter isn't actually going to shed off any effects. Let's show everyone what Leonin Arbiter does, just in case you're curious. Terry debating his best options
While
here.
we're showing cards, let's show how Terry overextended into Bonfire of the Damned. But we'll see if that comes back to bite him or not.
Yep.
You gonna clear it? You want me to clear it?
Yeah. Give it a clear. I'm going to look up how many bonfires. I believe there are only 2 bonfires in Greg's deck. No, I'm super wrong. There are 4 bonfires.
Grig's hitting another Empyrean.
Oh my goodness.
I had to really think about how to pronounce that.
He's going back to the store to see what's in from out of town. So this Madcap experiment is going to let him reveal cards until he finds his one remaining artifact, which is another Platinum Empyrean.
Oh, he's taking a lot of damage here.
He is going to take a lot of damage, but his life total will still not change. So what can Terry do to get out of this?
Draw a lot of Path to Exiles.
That would certainly work.
Flicker Wisp works as well, at least once you get rid of one of them. The problem is it
third
costs
Restoration Angel.
double white, and you're not really going to be on... You can't assume you're going to be on that double white for very long, with Greg eventually going to be drawing into land destruction. Now, the question is, does Greg have attacks here? Like Greg,
Well, he didn't attack this most recent time.
Right, was that smart? So if he attacks and Terry blocks with everything, he gets to E2 restos.
Terry going to play out the Arbiter here. Pass it back to Greg. The problem is that Terry just dies to a bonfire off the top. Arbor Elf isn't going to do it, though.
That's true. He can actually overextend into the bonfire now because he's just dead to a bonfire because he just clears his board.
End of turn, Terry's going to flash in a Resto Angel. I imagine blinking the
Well,
wall.
he could have flashed in the resto after the bonfire and then block. I don't know. We're talking about a bonfire that hasn't shown up yet. There's a lot of blockers, though.
It's true. Blade Splicer, another draw for Terry. So basically, filling out the board, making it so that
Terry is investing in the bonfire.
Well, he is dead if a bonfire comes off the top, no matter what.
So might as well have a sweet-looking board state. Madcap experiment.
Greg draws
Not
a useless
really gonna
Madcap
do anything.
experiment.
He could cast it.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
like
it would
the
result
result
in his library getting shuffled.
Both players just in top deck mode here. Although Terry has to draw 2 cards, Greg only has to draw 1. Ghost Quarter, not going to do it. Pre-board, Terry has no way of removing Blood Moon. So all of his lands like Ghost Quarter are just not going to do anything. They're just mountains for the rest of the game.
A single Flicker Wisp will do it at this point. Because what you can do is you can Flicker Wisp out the Blood Moon and then use Displacer. No, he can't because Displacer returns immediately.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't work at all.
Beast within the draw for Greg. I don't think that really helps him at all.
Nope. Now with the 3 restos and the 2 displacers, and there's too much.
Well, actually, let me think. Because he can blow up one of Terry's planes. Mutavault the draw for Terry. Also not going to get there. This is a board solve. So yeah, he could go after one of Terry's planes.
Well, he's got 3 planes. It's not a bad idea now that he has the Acid Moss in his hand as well.
Yep.
The reason being you want to cut Terry off of that double white source, so the Flicker Wisp is not an out.
Speaking of which, Acid Moss going to go after a Ghost Quarter. Terry reminding Greg that he has to pay 2 to search his library because...
Oh, Biopovar points out that Flicker Wisp on the Blood Moon and then Displacer keep flickering the Flicker Wisp to get rid of the Imperiums.
Oh.
That works.
That works great.
I didn't see that line.
Yeah.
Some expert I am.
Another Ghost Core to the draw for Terry. And a Shining Shoal in hand. Let's look at Shining Shoal.
Did the Acid Moss seriously target a Ghost Quarter?
I think so. I'm not sure why.
Oh, I'd be going for the white sources.
Yeah. Shining Shoal, a card that probably will not be relevant in this game. But Terry certainly has a lot of mana to pay for it. It does mean actually that he's not dead necessarily to a bonfire. No, he is, because that's 16 damage off the Platinum Empyrean swinging in. Yeah.
Well, he's able to redirect the shoal, the damage from something like a bonfire to an Imperium.
That's true. Does he have enough mana? He does, to kill 1 Empyrean. Or is he just 1 short?
No, he's got 8.
Okay.
Well, he's got 10.
Yeah, he's got
X
10.
equals 8. Another Madcap experiment. Still not going to get there.
Both players just top decking for their lives here.
Mulligans
All right, Terry,
are important.
what are you drawing?
Everyone?
Lean and Arbiter. At this point, I think you should just hang on to it. A, because you don't want to give up the 10 mana on the board, and B, because if you can survive the bonfire, you want to be able to play a blocker after that. So what do you think Greg should be doing with this Beast Within?
Killing a white source, but I thought he should do that with the Acid Moss.
Yeah.
Now, if Terry swings in...
Stone Rain draw for Greg.
I have to assume Stone Rain is going to go after another Ghost Quarter here.
Well, yeah, Greg's going to have to stay on point. Yeah, and that's what he's doing.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, unfortunately, Terry doesn't have the mana at this point. Well, he does now that he drew the caves.
Yeah.
But he could, in theory, just attack in with a bunch of ground guys. See if he can get Greg to block one with Giant Monster.
Yep.
And then redirect the damage that the monster would do onto itself.
Thrun the Last Troll to draw for Greg, which, amazingly enough, will actually be able to start getting some kind of damage through Terry, because he doesn't have anything that can block it without dying. Terry draws another land, silently cursing his deck for hiding all those Path to Exiles.
Backup Blood Moon for Greg.
Backup Blood Moon actually may not change anything.
Not with Terry with that much mana.
Yeah. Here comes Thrun into the red zone. Let's see what Terry does. Oh yeah, for anyone who's not familiar.
I don't think Greg would block, but I don't think Greg would blow up Ghost Quarters when he should be blowing up white sources either, so what the hell do I know?
So what does Terry do here? Should he block?
You're at 13. You're worried about stuff like Stormbreath Dragon.
And let's see. So if Greg gets a Miracle Bonfire off the top.
Let's look at Shining Shoal.
Greg can deal 10 damage with just the Miracle Bonfire. Thalia the draw.
Yeah, it's not going to get there. You could start blocking. You have plenty of creatures like Blade Splicer you don't really need. Lean and Arbiter you don't really need. But at the same time, it's not really getting you anywhere.
All right, Greg. Where's that bonfire that damned? Stomping Ground, also not going to do it. This is the game that just won't end. Thrun coming back in for more. Terry debating. Gonna block with his Blade Splicer. Chumperino. Yeah, I want Terry to attack with a walker just to see what happens. Another land.
I mean, he would absolutely not block, but...
And there's the bonfire from Greg,
bonfire.
finally.
That has to be it. Let's see what we got for the Shining Shoal now.
I think the Thrun and the Arbor Elves are going to mean that Terry is dead no matter what.
Yeah, even killing an Empyrean. Even
Greg
killing the robot.
Is not tapping out completely here, which I'm somewhat surprised by. It doesn't matter if... Well, he can actually generate quite a lot of mana because of his Arbor Elves.
Terry's best hope is to call a judge and hope that the judge agrees with him that Greg drew that directly into his hand and then tried to miracle it.
Greg has declared X equals 4 off his bonfire, respecting the Shining Shoal. I did not expect him to do that.
Let's take one more look at Shining Shoal.
Because we know you don't know what it does.
It just doesn't quite do enough because you can't prevent the damage. It's going to deal 4 damage to each creature.
Yeah. So Terry can save the damage it would presumably deal to himself, but that's only 4 damage. It's not going to kill.
Right, so you're able to redirect 36
Imperium.
damage total if you were to have all of the... But 36 damage to any one target isn't going to do you any good. Greg's taken the first game of this match. Let's see. Are we still going? Why are we still going?
Terry's
Okay.
going to cast a spell. Let's see what happens.
I
I don't know. Maybe Greg decides that if he can't destroy a Ghost Quarter this turn, he might as well just pass it back. Terry's directing the next 9 damage dealt by Bonfire to a target that he's pondering.
So he
right
can
now.
save... What can he save? He can save...
I mean, if he saves a blocker...
Does he get to choose? He gets to choose the damage he prevents because it's all dealt at once. So can he choose like 1 damage to each resto? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Well, the problem is he also needs to save himself,
8,
otherwise he'll
9.
just die.
So he can save basically the Golem token, both displacers, and all 3 restos.
And still be alive.
Take 4, lose the Arbiter, lose the wall, and everything will have, very close to lethal damage on it, but he's able to save it. He'll go to 5. He'll have to chump, probably with a Golem token against the Thrun.
Mm-hmm. Greg probably will be too scared to attack with his Empyreans.
But you get the Arbor Elf in there because everything's so close to dead.
Yeah. Let's see what our players
You
do
get to
here.
take the 2 from the Arbor Elves, go to 7. At that point, do you swing in with the robots? No, you don't swing in with the robots. You just keep beating in with Thrun.
By the
He's
way,
not
can we point
completely
out
dead.
that Platinum Empyrean actually looks super doofy? Let's look at this. Let's look at this art
Doofy?
here. Look at this guy.
That's pretty good art. I like that.
He looks like the Marshmallow Man, but with like metal armor.
No, he just looks like a very heavy
Also,
robot.
his head is so
He's
small.
a golem. Well, yeah, he's got a lot of armor on.
I'm just saying, like, he looks more adorable than scary.
Where we're going, we don't need necks.
The hell are we going?
I don't know, Mirrodin, I guess?
All right. The Danger Zone. Danger Town, capital of the Danger Zone. All right. I'm still not clear what's going on here. I think Terry's deciding to save all of his Resto Angels.
Right, so he's able to save the resto. So because the bonfire deals damage all at once, basically what's going to happen is it's going to attempt to deal 4 damage to each creature and Terry. But Terry's able to prevent damage, and I think he's able to prevent Witch 9 damage. And I'm being told by my director that that is the case.
Yes.
So he's able to deal, instead, say, okay, you're able to deal 3 damage to this resto, and I'm going to prevent 1 of that damage. And so resto has 3 damage marked on it, doesn't die. So he's able to save, how much did you cast it for? X equals 9.
9.
So he only needs to do 1 per resto, because it's got 4 toughness, so that's 3. 2 per displacer, so that's 2 more, so that's 4 more, so that's
7.
7.
2
and
more
then
for the
again,
golem
2 more
token.
for the golem. 8, 9. So he's able to save all of those creatures.
So he drops to 5, and Greg's going to swing in with just the Thrun and not his Arbor Elves. So Terry with an opportunity to just chump block here.
And he did choose to redirect all of that damage onto one of the giant robots. But with still another one, it's going to be close. I think
I mean, he's given himself an out here because he can still draw.
he
Cast
has. It
Exile.
wasn't as over as I initially had thought or stated it was.
All right. Terry somehow managing to save his board and his life.
And Terry does indeed choose to chump with the golem token.
Yep. Let's see what Terry draws. It's going to be a wall of omens. He gets another crack at this. Here's another draw. Oh, hand spotters help us out here. It's a Windbrisk Heights.
At this point, Terry should just dump his hands. Another bonfire, obviously going to do it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he has no way of assembling 4 power of First Strike at this point. If he gets another Golem, like another Blade Splicer, that'll happen. Come on with the Thalia.
No, the Golem token's gone.
Yeah, so if he gets another
Oh, I
Splicer
see,
off the
because
top,
of the Thalia. Right.
then
Thalia
he can
has
just First Strike block the Thrun forever.
What if he gets 2 Thalias?
That would be...
Oh, that
wait a
doesn't work.
minute.
Oh, that doesn't work.
I have to say, I've made that mistake many times.
What, playing 2 of a legendary creature?
Yeah, it was specifically playing 2 Thalias, being like, oh man, this is a keepable hand, I can just go Thalia, Thalia, and then he can't cast anything. Oh, wait. Well, Greg is going to fail to draw anything interesting. Looks like he drew a 3rd Blood Moon, and is going to swing in with Thrun. This is the problem with the Blood Moon decks, is that, yes, Blood Moon is a very good card, but a lot of times you want to put 4 in your deck, and then you're really opening yourself up to drawing a lot of duplicate Blood Moons that aren't worth anything.
That being said, Greg does have outs in the remaining 2 bonfires and in stuff like Stormbreath Dragon. And he does have inevitability with this Thrun on the board.
Yeah. And he has, between his Arbor Elves and all of his Utopia Sprawls, he has essentially infinite mana.
Terry not really seeing the line here with keeping up the First Strike damage. Sending that Thalia into jump
There's a
block
Path
lane.
to Exile for the Platinum Empyrean
Wow,
off the top
Terry
for Terry.
crawls back. That was impressive. I'm very impressed. I thought he was dead.
And Greg is going to scoop it up. Terry's going to take the first game of the finals. Let's see
Despite
if Greg can come back in the second.
less than ideal mulliganing decisions, we ended up with an interesting board state there.
That was I would say that was fascinating.
That was good. That was good. Shining Shoal. It's gonna spike in price right after this video gets put on YouTube. So people on Twitch, buy yours now.
Well, speaking of Shining Soul, let's talk about our player sideboard plans here. Terry is actually going to take out his 2 copies of Shining Shoal and 3 of his Wall of Omens. So we unfortunately won't be able to see a performance like that again. But he's going to put in an Oblivion Ring, a Mind Sensor, a Crucible of Worlds, a Disenchant, and a Grafdigger's Cage.
I think those are all reasonable decisions.
Grafdigger's Cage able to shut off the Platinum Empyrean. I don't know, does it shut off anything else in Greg's deck?
No, I don't think the Grafdigger's Cage is necessarily worth it. I think you'd rather have the Wall of Omens just to cycle you through your deck a little faster. The Crucible makes sense against the land destruction deck if you can get that out, obviously.
Yeah.
Very strong.
On Greg's side, he's actually only going to take out 2 things. He's going to take out either 1 Madcap Experiment or 1 Thrun the Last Troll. Apparently he hasn't decided. But he's definitely bringing in 1 Thragtusk, and then he may bring in Surgical Extractions for Game 3.
He is afraid of the Crucible of Worlds, and if he does get Crucible Ghost Quartered, he said he would probably bring in the Surgicals to hopefully mitigate that a bit better in Game 3. I don't think it's worth bringing in Surgicals against Terry, especially knowing he only has the 1 Crucible. But
so is Crucible Ghost Quarter really that good against Greg? Because he has plenty of basics.
It's not really good against anybody. I mean, it's good like in shops and vintage, but even then, you already got Strip Mine and
Terry announces that he's going to double down on
so-
Shining Shoal, so who knows what he's going to sideboard into now. Oh, people are posting links in the chat. Could be anything.
Oh, we have the Magic Bot. When do we get that? That's nice. O-Ring is coming in as flexible removal. It's just kind of a solid card for both the Blood Moons and the giant robot guys and anything else he needs, except for Thrun, which he does need to figure out how he's going to deal with.
Yeah, so Terry only has 1 O-Ring. So is it Biopoivoir?
Qu'est-ce que c'est ça?
Qu'est-ce que c'est ça? Oui, oui. All right. Greg and Terry. Well, it looks like Terry and Greg are both going to mulligan here.
Yeah, Mitch is behind on the times. What times? Don't answer that.
Both players going to 6. Greg going to be on the play here.
I know I'm supposed to like say like, oh, Joe Schmo says this in the chat in order to give context to future generations watching this video. But when they're just insulting me, I don't feel.
No, then you
like
definitely
just
have to repeat it. One second, let me get in the chat so I can say it. Twitch.tv/Urges Lunch Break, everybody. Make sure you subscribe or follow or whatever it is that you do on Twitch.
It's follow. We're
Thank
not
you.
a Twitch partner right now.
So you have
Might
to be
wanna
a
mute
partner.
that. Yeah, you have to get partnered. You have to have people watch you in order to get like subscribers.
Why is this? I have to.
Ned's
we go.
struggling with how Twitch works.
Technology is terrifying. Oh, it looks like we're finally seeing
Ex
hands here.
Mechanistic expressing how much they appreciate me.
That's definitely true. It looks like both players are going to keep at 6. Greg going to lead it off with a Arbor Elf from a Stomping Ground. What do you think of Terry's opening hand here?
I think it dies pretty hard to Greg's opening hand. I think the turn 2 Acid Moss is going to be pretty devastating. But the planes from Terry.
He can't do turn 2 Acid Moss. He can only do turn.
He can absolutely do turn 2 Acid Moss.
How does that work?
He just has to draw land.
Oh, that's true. Yes, if he draws a land. Terry going to lead it off with the Temple, crossing his fingers that he gets a second one off the top. Let's see. And it is a Stomping Ground for Greg, so he's going to be able to Acid Moss here.
Arbor Elf, turn 1, definitely Greg's most threatening opening.
That's a phrase I never expected to hear. Greg going to generate 4 mana and kill Terry's only land.
Madcap Experiment
Ending
coming down.
turn 2 with 6 mana available. Terry gonna draw. Selfless Spirit, the draw for Terry. Mutavault. Terry protecting his planes here, declining to run them out.
With only 1 in his hand right now available to him, I think that's a fine idea. Definitely the more important card. You're not really getting a Thought-Knot Seer anytime soon without a second Temple.
Turn 3 Madcap Experiment from Greg. Gonna fetch up one of those. Well, it's not a fetch. He's gonna reveal a Platinum Empyrean off the top. Greg has not drawn a single dragon so far this game, which is Stormbreath Dragon is a remarkably difficult card for Terry to
We can
deal
see
with.
the Surgical Extractions go by in Greg's deck.
So he did decide to
So
side
we
those
did
in.
bring him in. Both players lying to us about what their sideboarding was going to be.
They're just adapting to the times. Relin 5. We do appreciate the sass. Everyone should sass as much as possible, but only when Mish is involved. Caves of Koilos the draw for Terry.
How do you say it?
Caves of Koilos?
Koilos?
I assume so. I mean, maybe the K is silent and it's Caves of Oily, but you know. Leonin Arbiter from Terry. Not going to do a ton against an 8/8, but he really just needs to draw a Path to Exile here.
Greg, considering the hardcast Bonfire with nothing else to do,
And it looks like he's going to.
get this game over as quickly as possible.
What, that's going to be Bonfire on 3, I believe?
Consider holding it. If you can get 1 more mana, you can get it up to 4, and you'll be able to kill anything that Terry's able to put down.
Well, this way he gets Terry to 16, and then which increases his clock by 1 turn. Thalia the draw for Terry.
Yeah, it looks like Greg's going to just finish this out here, even with the Mind Sensor just kind of chumping. Terry needs to both draw land and the ability to play more than 1 creature a turn in order to stabilize against this board.
Yep.
A couple more land plus Golem with First Strike would fit into that quite nicely.
Another
With
Madcap
the second
Experiment.
Madcap and the second Robot. I'm not hopeful here.
Note that Leonin Arbiter and Avid Mind Sensor do not protect against Madcap Experiment because you're not searching your library, you're just revealing off the top.
That's true.
Terry in a real tough spot here. If he had drawn a Path to Exile, he could have survived another turn. But sadly, he did not. He drew Plains. Well, no, he has 2 blockers here. So he still gets to live. Greg hasn't drawn. He drew Primal Command.
Let's pull up Primal Command. We can look at all the modes of Primal Command.
Command that no one knows the modes for. Greg gonna swing in. Terry gonna chump block with both creatures, but he's going to sacrifice his Selfless Spirit to make his Thalia indestructible until end of turn.
Primal Command not actually unplayed in Modern, like most of Greg's deck. It has seen play in Elves decks. Probably not Tier 1, but still very powerful mono green ramp. Elves decks getting Primeval Titan out. This is just a very good utility card for that deck.
I imagine Greg can try to put a land on top of Terry's library.
Right.
And it's going
The
to
two
shuffle
modes
his own
of Primal
graveyard.
Command. It looks like he's searching for a creature instead.
Okay. Yeah, I think he chose to shuffle his own graveyard into his library and then find up a creature. All right, Terry.
One more.
This
look
needs
at
to be a
Primal
path to
Command.
exile.
You can use it effectively as a
Yes,
land
let's go
destruction
back to
spell.
Primal Command.
Because what you can, this is like, you gotta get one of the new Primal
I
Commands
should
with
just
the
leave this
dots.
up here forever. Well, Terry gets to live another day because he drew a blocker.
Well, he had blockers
That's true. He
already.
had Thought-Knots here. Oh, there goes your Inferno Titan. You spent all that time and money to get. Terry's not dead yet. Certainly not
No,
looking
he
good.
is.
Listen, we said that last time. Terry is going to actually chump block here. Lose both his creatures.
So you can put a land on top of your opponent's library and then have them shuffle their graveyard into their library, effectively removing effectively stone raining them. Anyway, let's get this out of here.
All right, another Arbor Elf for Greg. He has a lot of mana. He could just, well, he would need to get up to 17 in order to bonfire Terry out of the building.
Thalia does technically let Terry live another turn.
No, it doesn't. Terry needs 2 blockers for the 2 Imperials.
Yeah, he's got a Mutavault.
But that's going to be it. Terry's going to scoop it up, and we're going to go to Game 3.
Yeah, I don't know how he could have gotten out of that, even
Yep.
if he draws consecutive paths. Oh, there's the trophy.
Yep, it's all on the line here. Let's get that back in there. Look at that delicious trophy.
Game 3. We need to rotate the trophy. The trophy's at a bad angle.
Unfortunately, our
Can we
watchers,
rotate it?
what they can't know is that the trophy is made out of plastic, except for the bread, which is a really disturbing squishy foam. So when you touch the thing,
The
it's
whole
just
thing,
utterly
this
revolting.
entire production is disturbing on many levels. Can we get it rotated so at least you can see it's
Also,
it's
there's
more than
fake
just like,
mayo in there, and the
Right,
longer
yeah,
you look
that's
at the
what you
fake
gotta-
mayo, the more
no,
you want to
not
throw
that
up.
kind of rotate.
There you
there
go.
you go. See, the
Look
fake
at it.
mayo
Oh,
is
man.
absolutely
Ah, jeez.
disgusting.
Ugh. All right. Well, that's what people are playing for today in the finals of this prestigious tournament. Our players have decided to just leave the table, it looks like. X Mechanistic suggesting the utterly revolting tagline for the entire show. I think that sounds good.
That's pretty appropriate, especially after all those intros.
I mean, have you seen what our commentators look like?
I have. I look like a ghost. That's why I wear this hat.
Everyone loves
wanna
Sockhead
wear the
Kid.
hat. I don't want to wear the hat. I don't have a
It's
choice.
just-
It's either wear the hat or we find a professional makeup artist to make me look not like a ghost.
Well, we'd have to pay big money to make that roll in. All right, players finally going to start looking at hands here. Let's see if Greg's going to keep his 7.
Who could just email the office? Anybody want to do my makeup?
We could have a rotating schedule.
There we go.
So what is Terry looking to have in his opener?
6 lands and a Crucible of Worlds.
Sounds good. Let's see if he gets it. Greg has 2 One-Villy Acid Mosses in opening hand. He has the Utopia Sprawl.
This
and
is
the Stone Ring.
definitely capable for Greg. Terry literally with 6 lands in his opener. It's fine.
I want to know what the 7th card was. Thought-Knots here. All right.
Okay.
Well, Greg doesn't have a lot to do until he gets to Inferno Titan. Admittedly, he's going to get to it pretty
He
quickly.
does, though, because he has that Stone Rain, and then those Acid Mosses
Mm-hmm.
are going to accelerate him into it.
Well, it's just going to be Utopia Sprawl naming red for Greg on turn 1, passing it back to Terry, who draws an Oblivion Ring.
No, Thalia would have been a great draw there. He would have slowed Greg down by a bit, but at this point, with 3 consecutive land destruction spells followed up by an Inferno Titan, Terry's going to have a very difficult time coming back from this one. He needs to find a path to exile and hold back that plains such that he can weather the storm and hopefully just empty Greg's hand to try to get back in this. He doesn't know that yet. He has no idea what's coming.
So he has a Displacer in hand, so he could play the Temple and play the Displacer. And it looks like that's what he's going to do. Displacer, a very strong card for Terry if there's no Blood Moon on the table.
Terry not playing a waste, so does not have access to colorless mana should a Blood Moon hit the board.
Biopavard pointing out that he could have Ghost Quartered the Forest in order to get Greg off of lands. Slow him down.
Certainly a valid move, but you're setting yourself back one land by doing that at the same time, so it's a wash, at least this way. If Greg does have the turn 2 land destruction spell, he's down a card. But he could have been mana screwed. Terry has shown that he does not want to do that earlier in game 1, I believe.
Looks like Greg is going to take a conservative line here. Just run out a second Utopia Sprawl, and probably this Birds of Paradise that he drew.
That is ludicrous for a number of reasons.
Oh, no, here's the Stone Rain.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense than playing a Birds of Paradise.
Goodbye, Eldrazi Temple.
Greg, knowing Thought-Knot Seer, could be on the way out next turn if that Eldrazi Temple is allowed to stay.
Now, Terry does have a 3/3, but that Inferno Titan's going to deal with it pretty quickly.
Yeah, Blinking Inferno Titan obviously not something you want to do, even if the Displacer didn't immediately die.
What's Terry's best play here? Now, he could still do the Ghost Quarter play, because now he has a creature on the board. And it would actually, in this case, slow down Greg quite a bit. Terry doesn't know exactly what's in Greg's hand, though. Well, Terry's going to start off by getting into the red zone with his Eldrazi Displacer and drop Greg to 16.
That's a very, very tough call to make. You're sacrificing one of your own lands for maybe slowing Greg down. If Greg draws a land, or if he has plenty more lands, or a lot of things have to go right
in order
for that Ghost Quarter to work out. Now, it does happen that the Ghost Quarter would work out if he did play it here. But I like the Windbrisk Heights. Just attempt to weather the storm.
Looks like it's going to be Disenchant under that Windbrisk Heights.
Ooh, a nice textless one, too.
Yeah, very pretty. All right, Terry, he likes his beautiful cards. All right, Greg's going to untap with 4 mana available and kick it up to 5. I imagine we're going to see him on Vili Acid Moss directed at Windbrisk Heights. It's going after the first one.
Right, it's certainly not a wash because it kills the Utopia Sprawl, so you do get effectively a land out of the deal, but you're losing your own land, and Greg isn't spending, and you're not making Greg spend any cards to get rid of one of your own lands.
By the way, the card under that Heights was a Path to Exile. And Greg's going to finish off the turn with...
He doesn't have to reveal that. We just knew that?
We just knew that.
Oh, okay.
He's going to finish it off with a Birds of Paradise.
Well, that is one path out of his deck, so he's got the other ones he has to find now.
Let's see what Terry can draw. Another Thought-Knot Seer. Looks like Greg is just intent on preventing Terry from ever getting enough mana to cast his spells. Despite the fact that Terry kept a remarkably land-heavy hand, he's now short on lands.
Right, and that's exactly what both players want to do. Terry just wants to keep making land drops. And Greg just wants to keep destroying lands until such time he feels comfortable playing the Inferno Titan. Once the Inferno Titan is out there, Greg will be probably out of cards. At that point, it's a question of was Terry able to find the removal for it?
And he has removal in his hand, but it requires 3 mana, which he may never get to.
He does have a third land in his hand. He does have that Ghost Quarter still.
And Greg just managed to draw another threat in the form of Madcap
Experiment. That's going to be very difficult for Terry to overcome here.
Well, it started out Greg's going to do the Inferno Titan, blow away that Eldrazi Displacer.
And I'm surprised. He had the ability to get that Acid Moss instead and keep Terry off of lands, hopefully. But instead, Terry's going to be able to have an opportunity to get an Oblivion Ring out here.
And here it comes. Oblivion Ring, gonna eat that Inferno Titan. Greg does have Beast Within to kill the Oblivion Ring. I don't think he has anything else, though. Rolling 5, the trophy needs googly eyes. Listen, the trophy is already terrifying enough. I don't want my food to look at me when I'm about to eat it.
You don't like lobster?
Are those really eyes?
Yeah.
No, they're just stalks. That's a different thing. That's basically celery.
That's the same thing. Not stalks and celery.
Roland 5 reminding us that we had Justin on stream, and he googly-eyed up his entire board, which I found really disturbing. Greg gonna cast his Monthly Acid Moss here, rather than his Madcap experiment. Actually, no, he still has the mana to float for the Madcap experiment. And there it is.
The land he drew for turn, allowing him to do that.
The most disturbing thing for me about Justin's match with the googly eyes is that I could never see when he added more googly eyes to the table. I would just look up and suddenly there would be more. Another land to draw for Terry. Oh, no, sorry.
He drew a Flicker Wisp.
He drew a Flicker Wisp. He already had that Ghost Quarter. So this is the thing. Greg is out of land destruction. If Terry can draw some more lands, he could get back into this game, even in the face of a Platinum Empyrean.
Where's the Madcap experiment? Why didn't that resolve? He paid 8 mana, didn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, he didn't. Why didn't he? He tapped out.
I don't know. Maybe he just wanted to tap a lot of mana.
Oh, Greg thought he had an elf, not a bird, and didn't shock himself on the shock land that he drew, and this kind of talked himself out of it. Terry with nothing to do should just be attacking with the Mutavault here. Might as well.
Yeah, he doesn't really have anything to threaten with. And Terry agrees. He's going to animate that Mutavault and swing in. Now would be a great time for us to talk about the new changes to declaring combat between active player and non-active
That
players.
sounds exhausting. I would rather you do another intro than have to talk about it.
Man, I wish I could do another intro. You know, Gus gave me an alternate descriptor for you. We had more than we could possibly use.
Oh, God.
I decided to go with the one that was more likely. Monvili Acid Moss, the draw for Greg.
Gotta put a stop to this Mutavault shenanigan.
And going to continue to keep Terry off of his 4 drops, which is where he really needs to be.
Not going for the white source.
Or the Mutavault.
Why is the Ghost Quarter a threat to
I
Greg?
don't know why Greg is so terrified by Ghost Quarter. Maybe he just doesn't like ghosts. Madcap experiment from Greg. Finally going to find that Empyrean.
Greg's got plenty of mana. What's he need mana for?
Expectnix is demanding to know what our... well, I don't necessarily want to give away what we had in case we need to use it in the future. You'll just have to tune in some other time. It's pretty good, though. I'll say that.
If he kills the plains, then a top deck path doesn't do anything. But a top deck path here would feel pretty bad.
Well, let's see if Terry can get it.
Terry
He's
would feel
certainly
pretty good
showed
about it.
himself unable to draw
I would feel
paths in
pretty
the
good
future.
about it.
Eldrazi Temple, the draw for Terry. He's going to be able to play a creature, ladies and gentlemen.
More importantly, he's going to be able to play 2 creatures here.
Thought-Knot Seer.
And then double block
Well,
Mr. Platinum.
Thought-Knot Seer, Greg's empty-handed, but he does have a 4/4. If Greg draws another land destruction, Terry will be set back once more. Blood Moon is also going to do it for Greg.
Rip in peace the double thought knot plan.
It does mean that Terry actually cannot cast his Thought-Knot Seers
No, he can't do
ever
anything.
again. He will, I guess, be able to Restoration Angel the Thought-Knot if he draws a white source.
He has a white source. He has a plains. Because Greg declined to kill it for unknown reasons. But he could. I mean, you can...
I really want to start singing the Ghostbusters theme song, but I'm pretty sure...
No, that's not acceptable.
We can't
We'll get
afford that.
muted.
That's true.
I don't know if we'll get muted.
I appreciate the faith you have
It
in my
depends
ability
on
to
how
recreate
on key
popular
you are.
theme songs. What if I just like sing the rhythm, but there's no actual
I wouldn't.
notes?
Please
do
don't.
do 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 do.
No.
Whose turn is it? Looks like Greg has decided to swing in with his Platinum Empyrean and drop Terry to 12. Passing it
Not
back to
afraid
Terry.
about blocking.
Terry draws a Plains. Restoration Angel online. As is Flicker Wisp, actually. Although I imagine Terry wants to save his Flicker Wisp for something more eventful.
Yeah, you want to keep that Flicker Wisp for when you can actually present lethal attacks.
So
Which
this is
is
the
a
question.
ways
Does
away.
Terry resto Greg on Greg's draw step?
No, because he'll get to draw a card as soon as it leaves the battlefield.
Ah, that's true. According to our director, Greg is incredibly worried about Shoal right now. With 3 cards in hand, he's just determined that Terry has 3 Shoals.
Reasonable.
Our director pointing out that even if you do let Greg draw 2 cards, you get to take the best card of the 2.
Yeah, absolutely. But I would be doing this during blockers, get a free block out of it.
Psalmstorm suggesting the same thing. This deck has a lot of blanks. Looks like Greg just drew the blank here, though. In Arbor Elf.
This tournament has a lot of blanks.
What does that even mean?
I don't know, it just sounded really insulting.
Listen, as the whitest person on camera, I don't think you should really be calling anyone blank. All right, Greg going to swing in for 8. Terry going to block with his Thought-Knot Seer and then blink it, saving it, but allowing Greg to draw a card, which then gets exiled.
Goodbye, Arbor Elf, I guess.
Let's see what Terry drew. Maybe it could be a Path to Exile.
Oh, it's a Ghost Quarter.
It's a Ghost Quarter. Uh-oh, Greg, you're in trouble.
He's paranoid now. Gonna lose the Ghost Quarter. Why does he care?
So let's see. Terry needs to get up to... How many more lands does he need in order to be able to cast Flicker Wisp and Thought-Knot Seer?
He can't cast Thought-Knot Seer.
No, but if he flickers the Blood Moon, then his temple comes back online.
Then he needs 1.
He needs 1 more? Yeah.
I think that Ghost Quarter in his hand has been played out.
Tibbs 1508 is a Ghost Mountain. Even more terrifying, man. Ghost on a mountain? Imagine if Valakut just shot ghosts at people. Terry debating whether to attack here. I imagine he should.
Can I have mod powers in the chat, please? I need to ban.
That's definitely not happening.
I need to time out Urza's lunch break from the chat.
Yeah, our director has just decided that Ursula...
Can I do that?
So despite my joke, it actually seems like there's no reason for Terry to attack here. Or to really block the Empyrean next turn, although I could be wrong. I guess if he doesn't block the Empyrean, then he opens himself up to just dying to a Miracle Bonfire. But he also dies to a Miracle Bonfire no matter what.
Bold.
Terry taking the super bold
Flicker
maneuver
Wisp
here.
out there.
I imagine he's going to blink the Platinum Empyrean and get in for damage. It's gone. Terry, your window's open. Here come the nerds. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Greg's got plenty of mana. He could easily just chump these things.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to. This play doesn't really gain Terry a lot of value.
I think Terry felt the need to do something. He's got kind of nothing going on right now. Get some damage in, clear some blockers while he has the chance. But at the same time...
if he'd waited a turn, though, and drawn a land, he could have played the Thought-Knot Seer.
I mean, if he waited a turn, then Greg might have drawn a land destruction spell, and there goes that Plains.
That's true. And as he is...
And keep in mind, Greg could have killed one of those Plains a long time ago and decided to go after a Ghost Quarter.
Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, the draw for Terry. He does now have enough blockers to negate any attack from the Empyrean. And here's a Thalia. Greg still hasn't drawn a single of his dragons. He only has 2 in the deck.
He's got another Madcap experiment, though.
The chat is requesting another grudge match.
No, we're not talking about that.
All right. Well, here's Greg drew a Madcap experiment. Just to let him get another Platinum Empyrean.
You know, I was all set up to do the grudge match, and I was going to play Miracles, and then Top got banned. So
I don't understand why you thought we would let you play Miracles.
Because
you can play Modern Miracles. You want to do that?
No, that sounds awful. I can't even Caracas my Venser.
So why do you think they decided to just ban miracles straight out? Because usually what they try to do is just slow down an existing archetype.
There was no way to weaken it. There really wasn't.
Our
Why are
director
we?
is
Yeah,
incredulous.
I don't know if we're gonna.
I'm sorry. Our director is still salty about the twin ban.
Now there's a card that deserved to be banned.
Yeah, that was probably the best decision Wizards has ever made, to be honest. Blade Splicer the draw for Terry. He now has, well, no, it's still not enough first strike damage to really matter.
No, he's not gonna get up to 8 first strike damage.
But Terry is going to run out that Splicer because, once again, he is still just dead to a bonfire. All right, Greg, you have a lot of cards in your deck to deal with this board. Let's see if you can find it. Forest is not going to be it.
Holding it back might be a trick.
Path to Exile. Finally, the draw for Terry.
Yeah, a little late.
Unfortunately, a few turns too late.
A little late. Might as well just hold it now.
Oh, and the Miracle Bonfire off the top for Greg. Does he just win here?
No, we got the path.
We got the path. So one Empyrean's going to bite it.
So Terry should be tapping all his mana to make Greg
Well, but Terry's going to
think
take...
about that Shining Shoal.
That's true.
And then
Give Great a heart attack. I think Terry's still dead here because he's going to take how much damage off of the bonfire? It's going to be more than 4.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
He's gonna pay the tax here on the Thalia.
Better pay the
How much
tax.
mana does he have? 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can't see the edge of the screen. He's got too much to the right.
Our director informs us that X is
X equals 8
the
with Thalia
attack.
tax.
So either Empyrean is lethal.
It's probably gonna do it then.
Terry going to path his own Thought Knots here. Strong play.
I don't understand why he would do that.
I don't know. Just really wanted that plains.
Why would he do that? Oh, he's
And
picking it
then
up.
he's
We're all
going
done.
to scoop it
I
up.
don't know
Well,
why he
ladies
did
and
that.
gentlemen, Terry the Taxman finally falls to Greg's amazing Madcap
Nice.
Ponza deck.
I
So,
was ready that time.
there's good. You were, Prestige. God damn it. We were doing so well. So at long last, our tournament is over, and Greg reigns supreme, owner of the incredibly revolting and creepy this tournament trophy. That is going to be it for us. We're going to go on break here, but we'll be back later on. Hang in there until then. Mitch is going to go retire to a tropical island somewhere.
It's too hot to wear this hat. It's like way
You look
too
great,
hot
man.
outside.
You just got to own it.
It's not true.
As always, Mitch would like me to remind you to like and subscribe, leave a comment, follow us on Twitch, all of those things. And until next time, have a great time. That was a terrible sign off.